One day, I was at Comsoft to buy a cell phone, and I had clearly in my mind the idea that I wanted an iPhone. But I was looking to the other great cell phones on the shelf, and I couldn't understand what makes me so badly want an iPhone. And then I thought of four criteria that makes Apple different from other technological companies. First of all, leadership, innovation, design, and functionality. All these things couldn't be possible without the figure of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is the great mind behind Apple. When Steve Jobs began with Apple back in 1976 as co-founder and CEO of the company, he had clearly why, how, and what he wanted to do. These three things made Apple the sixth largest company in the technological company in the world. But after Steve Jobs' death, we don't have a clear vision of what is going on with Apple. So when Steve Jobs returned to take the wheel of the company in 1996, Apple didn't stop growing. Evidence of this is the new products that were released, like iPod, the iPad, and the iPhone, the cell phone model. When Apple entered into the public offer, the price of the share was around $22. That is an average price for many technological companies, such as Microsoft, Dell, or Lenovo. After Steve Jobs' death, the 5th of October of 2011, the share price of Apple experienced a minor contraction due to the fact that some investors believed that the company wouldn't be the same without the brilliant mind of Steve Jobs. But they were wrong. The actions price by the old way have an increasement to reach an amazing amount of $650. That is a great price for a technological company. This price was determined by some facts, like the new version of iPad, the confidence that is Tim Cook, the new CEO of Apple, named in August of 2011. We're going to maintain the company as Steve Jobs did. Nevertheless, there are some expectations towards what is going to happen in the future, because now that Steve Jobs is dead, the investors believe that the new gadgets that are going to enter into the market next years are not going to be as good as were when Steve Jobs was alive.
Another important thing that we must look at to see how Apple has changed after Steve Jobs' death is its product sales. Now, Apple releases its product sales by every quarter. Here we have the same quarter of 3 different years. In December of 2009, we see a pretty good amount. It grows for 2010, but the change for 2011 is the largest that Apple has ever had. The iPhone sales grew by 128%. The iPad grew 111%. Macs grew 26%. The only one that declined was iPods, 21%. Now, stuff like this has been seen before, where the star dies and product sales improve. A very common, very good example is Michael Jackson. After his mysterious death, his sales went up.
Yeah.
So now the question is, will Apple sales continue to rise like they did just after Steve Jobs' death? Or will people lose faith and interest in Apple's products and go somewhere else for their technological devices? Yes. So now let's talk about a bit of what Tim Cook, Apple's new CEO, has done with the company after Steve Jobs left. First of all, he is planning to pay $80 billion to buy back stock or pay a dividend. Two things that Steve Jobs was against. Second of all, he refers to Apple's employees as team, unlike Steve Jobs, which had a reputation to be more strict and apart from the company. Another thing that Tim Cook did that Steve Jobs would have been against is charities. He plans to equal employee contributions to non-profit, and he also divided the education arm of Apple into sales and marketing, putting sales under marketing chief Phil Schiller. And finally, he put Eddie Q in charge of cloud services. He now manages everything that has to do with IADS. But one of the main differences between Tim Cook, Apple's new CEO, and Steve Jobs is showmanship. Steve Jobs was known for his showmanship. He was a performer. In his keynotes, he inspired everyone, made everyone want to buy the products. Tim Cook, in the first keynote that he did not convince. Yes, he presented a cool iPad and everything, but it's not the same. Now we shall see if Tim Cook can get better at this aspect or not.
The post-job era is really uncertain for the company. Some persons says that it will be as productive as it was when Steve Jobs was the CEO of the company, and some others, as George Colony of Forrester's blog, says it will be like in these next years it will be the same, but in a few years it will start to decline and pass from being a great company as it is now to a good company. In this chart we can see that Steve Jobs, the black dot in the center, is connected with everyone. These are all the heads of the departments, the people in charge of everything, the gurus, the executives. Every person has to be connected with Steve Jobs. So if we take Steve Jobs from the center, the company will collapse, is what the negative part says. Also, a social theorist says that there are three kinds of companies. The bureaucratical legal companies, like any company like IBM or the government. Traditional companies like churches. And charismatical companies, like this case. Weber says that in this case the CEO, the leader, is chosen by the touch he has with with his co-workers, and in the Apple special case there is a special touch between Jobs and the clients. It's not the same as its new CEO Tim Cook's keynotes, that are the launchings of the products, that when Jobs do them. It's really different. So the people says that without charisma and without leadership, Tim Cook's permanence in the company and the company itself will soon decline, as in the past. For example, Sony declined after his founder and CEO Morita died, or in the case of Polaroid or Walt Disney in the next few years after Mr. Walt Disney died. But also there are persons that says no, Apple is more than Steve Jobs. Apple is more than a single person. Even though Steve Jobs helped a lot with its designs, founded Mac with Steve Wozniak, Apple is more than a single person. So yes, it's sad that this guy died the past year, but the company must continue. They say that the only, of the huge amounts of clients that Apple have, just a few are like Jobs followers. The new buys and the new buyers of Apple products like the iPad, the iPhone 4, the new iPods are persons that really don't care about jobs, personal life, jobs, vision about the world. So they don't buy Apple because of jobs, but because of the solutions that Apple products presents, or the facilities that these products brings. So there are like the two positions. Some people says that yes, jobs is an important person in the company, and some others says no, jobs is the company. So really now the challenge is to keep the innovation that has been the key in the company, and this responsibility lies in Jonathan Ive, that is the guru of design, and not in Tim Cook, that is the new CEO.
So, as I was saying, there are some people that are not really sure that Tim Cook can control the company. First, we can see that the stocks of Apple are like having a similar behavior as they had before Steve Jobs left the company, and even before Steve Jobs' death. If we go back and see how the stocks behaved after he died, the stocks increased surprisingly. But as columnists say, it is a normal behavior of these charismatic enterprises, and it is pretty sure that it will collapse. If we take into account the changes that Tim Cook is making to the company, that is also making some investors doubting about the probable success or declining of the company. But most of the investors think that the company will keep going as it was before Steve Jobs left the company, because the main processes and the great guidelines of the company were built before Steve Jobs left and were well structured. So most of the people think that the great problem that Apple is confronting right now is the innovation. No one can predict what is going to happen with the innovation, and only time will say what will happen. If the company will keep on going as it was when Steve Jobs was in the lead, if the company will be better, or if the company would go in a decline.